So the scrutiny begins with this scrutiny of the ego. And that's the first thing that Jung addresses, and he addresses it very rigorously and very sharply. Then these resignations take place that I mentioned, and then the soul returns. But the soul says to him on May 8th, how far away you are. So she has disappeared for a period of time, for some months, and now she says to him, how far away you are. And they have a brief conversation, and in this conversation she says to him, because he's obviously been having doubts about what he's done, these resignations, going his own way, he can barely stand himself. She reassures him and hammers home to him the importance of going it alone, going his own way, the way of the solitary. And she says to him, der unsichere Weg ist der gute Weg. Der unsichere Weg ist der gute Weg. The uncertain way is the good way. So he's taken a path that, with lots of uncertainties, with no promises no guarantees of anything good to come, but she reassures him that this way is the right way, is the good way. And one must say that every creative personality has to face this kind of questioning and doubt. Is the way I'm taking, is what I'm doing, does it make any sense? Will it lead to anything? Is this nonsense? Maybe I should go back into the collective. Maybe I should take a job with a corporation. Maybe I should do something different. No, der unsichere Weg ist der gute Weg, she says. So she is very much supporting the path that he has found, which is the way of the solitary. And on May 23rd, she remains at a great distance, and they have a discussion now about faith and knowledge, faith versus knowledge. And this is an important theme in Jung's life, the difference between faith and knowledge. And she says to him that faith is a quality of childishness, childish belief, whereas knowledge is grown up. Now, faith, to be reduced to a childish state of belief, is a bit extreme, but I want to explain what Jung meant by faith and how he understood that word, Glaube in German, die Glaube. And Glaube does mean belief. You believe something because somebody tells it to you. You believe it because of authority given to it by somebody else, an external authority. And so children learn about their culture based on the authority of their teachers. Their teachers tell them, what their history is, tell them what their culture is, introduce them to science and mathematics without explaining the background. So you memorize formulas and you learn vocabulary. And in church, in the context of faith, you learn the stories from the Bible, and you learn the creeds, and you have your confirmation or your baptism, and so on and so forth. And that's all done by learning what authority has to say. That's what Jung meant by Glaube, or faith, belief. He doesn't mean faith in a high theological sense of the word. So in contrast to that, you have knowledge. Knowledge is something that you acquire from your own experience. If you have knowledge of science, it's different from belief in science. You actually do science, and you know how it works, and you know its limitations. That's knowledge. If you have a relationship, or you enter into a situation where you produce a family, you don't believe in family life. You have knowledge of family life, and so. Jung wants to say the same thing about anything philosophical, anything metaphysical, anything having to do with religion. What is the experience? Experience is grown up. Just taking it because somebody else says it on the basis of authority is childish. So that's what he means by faith. And in the course of these experiences that he has in the Red Book, of course, he's going to come to experience the power and come into a state of respect for the powers that he experiences. Now you could say that's another kind of faith based on experience, but he doesn't use the word faith. He'll say that's experience. I'm speaking of what I know from experience. That's knowledge. So that's the difference. And this discussion with the soul is, to my knowledge, first, maybe there are earlier distinctions like this that he makes in his writings, I don't know, but it comes to a tremendous formulation later in works like Answer to Job, in his letters with Victor White, where they talk about the difference between faith and knowledge, in his dialogue with Martin Buber, and so on. And in the famous interview with John Freeman in 1958, Face to Face, where Freeman says, "Do you believe in God now, today? Do you believe in God?" And Jung stutters a little bit, and he says, I've always had a hard time with belief. That word doesn't work for me. I don't believe, I know. And everybody was astonished by that expression. What does he know? How does he know? I'd like to know more about what he knows. Well, what he means by that is he's had experiences like the ones recorded in the Red Book, and when he speaks about those things, the powers that be, the archetypal images, the gods, and so on, whatever you want to call them, he's going to speak from experience and knowledge and not from belief, having read about them somewhere. And what you could say that the Red Book is taking into his experience what he's read in his library to some extent. Sonu Shamdasani, the editor, has traced a lot of the figures and incidents in the Red Book to passages in books in Jung's library. Jung was an avid reader of philosophy, mythology, fairy tales, all that material. And in the Red Book, he comes to experience a lot of those processes and to some extent figures. Elijah and Salome, for instance, are biblical figures. Izdubar is a version of Gilgamesh. There are scenes that are reminiscent of Scandinavian mythology or Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology. There are quotations from the Upanishads, all kinds of material in the Red Book. But Jung is taking it from the page into his experience and dialoguing with these figures. Not in a systematic way, A to Z in his library, but they come to him. He's read about the Mithraic mysteries, and he has the experience of a Mithraic initiation. He hangs from the tree like Odin did. But now he can speak from experience and not from belief. And so that's a huge difference, this transition from childish belief, very passively taking it in from authority figures or your readings, to actually experiencing it.